hadn't eaten in 2 days, hadn't smiled in 2 weeks, hadn't mattered to anyone in months. Daniel Moore used to walk with purpose. Now he wandered with a limp, carrying the weight of a betrayal that had stolen more than just his career. It had stolen his voice. Years ago, he co-founded a tech startup with his best friend, Adrian Vale. Daniel was the architect. Adrian was the charm. Together, they were unstoppable, until ambition turned venom. The boardroom became a courtroom. Shares were reallocated. Votes were taken. And Daniel was out. No warning. No apology. Just 4 words that seared into his brain. It's just business, Dan. Jobless. Homeless. Forgotten. Daniel drifted through the city like a discarded page. He had no destination. Just footsteps echoing through alleyways that didn't care about where he'd been. But then he heard music, laughter, and celebration. He turned. A golden-lit estate up ahead. White tents. Tuxedos. Champagne towers. And at the center, an archway draped in roses, with 2 names printed in cursive, Adrian and Vanessa. Vanessa, the woman Daniel once loved. The one he planned to marry, before his world unraveled. And now she stood in silk and diamonds, toasting a future with the man who had burned Daniel's past. He wasn't supposed to be there. He wasn't invited. But fate had a cruel sense of humor. And Daniel had nothing left to lose. He drifted into the crowd unnoticed, just another blurred face among the elite. Until one sharp pair of eyes recognized him. Margot Vale, Adrian's aunt. She pulled him aside, pressed an envelope into his hand and whispered, "You deserved better." Inside the envelope was proof of bribes, backroom deals. Bank transfers from Adrian to the board members who voted Daniel out. And at the very bottom, a document Daniel had forgotten even existed. The original company registration, filed under one name, is Daniel Moore. He didn't shout. He didn't scream. He waited until the perfect moment. Adrian lifted a glass for a toast, spouting hollow words about honesty and legacy. And then Daniel stepped forward, calm, collected but deadly. "I'm taking back what's mine," he said, dropping the envelope onto the wedding cake table. Silence followed. Phones came out. Guests gasped. Vanessa froze. Adrian's smirk vanished. Daniel leaned in, whispered just loud enough for the world to hear, "It's just business, Adrian." The fallout was immediate. News headlines exploded. Investigations launched. Shares plummeted. Board members fled. Adrian's empire shattered under the weight of exposed lies. Daniel didn't celebrate. He just watched, as the man who erased him was now being deleted by the very system he'd corrupted. But then, just when Daniel thought the story was over, his phone buzzed. One message. No name. Just, "That wasn't Adrian's only secret. Check the storage unit on 5th and Howard. Unit 42. Bring no one." He arrived alone. Rain dripped from rusted gutters. The lock clicked open. Darkness welcomed him inside. Inside were boxes, old files, hard drives, documents yellowed with time. But one caught his eye. Labeled, Project Stonegate. Inside, classified reports, military-grade signatures, surveillance logs. Contracts Daniel never signed. Agreements Adrian had entered after Daniel was forced out. But here's the twist. Daniel's name was still attached. One USB drive. No label. He plugged it in. Footage appeared. Grainy. Hidden camera. Adrian sat across from a man in uniform. "This agreement never sees daylight," the man warned. Adrian nodded. "It won't. As long as I stay in control." Then Daniel's name came up. "What about Moore?" Adrian smirked. "He's nothing. I made sure of it." But Adrian had made a mistake. Because Daniel wasn't gone. And now he had evidence of a government-grade surveillance operation, secretly run through his former company. Thousands of citizens. Monitored. Controlled. Conditioned. And if the system collapsed, Daniel would go down with Adrian. Unless he moved first. He reached out to the only person who might listen. Vanessa. Not as an ex, but as a compliance officer. She watched the footage, pale and trembling. "Give me 48 hours, she said. And 48 hours later, the internet caught fire. Billionaire exposed in secret surveillance deal. Whistleblower releases shocking evidence of citizen monitoring. Tech scandal erupts. Investigation launched. Protests flared. Adrian vanished. Daniel's name was everywhere. He'd won. Or so he thought. Then, at midnight, a phone call. No number. Just a voice. Robotic. "Come. You should have stayed forgotten." Then a knock. No one outside. Just a note. Stonegate wasn't Adrian's project. It was ours. Daniel started digging. Not through Google, through shadows, through archives. And that's where he saw it. The symbol. 3 triangles, overlapping in a circle. Not a logo, a mark. Found on old military research papers linked to a defunct think tank, Echelon Point. Project name, Mirror. Purpose, behavioral mapping through predictive chaos. Funding, unknown. The betrayal hadn't just been personal. It had been strategic. Daniel's fall wasn't an accident. It was engineered. He contacted a hacker. A ghost from an encrypted forum. Alias, Echo_7. Real name, Mira. Her face was scarred. Her tone? Dry as a bone. She studied the drive. Traced the data. "You're not just a whistleblower," she said. "You're a case study. You were selected. Manipulated. To test how people react under pressure. You passed. And now, they're watching." She tracked the USB's origin to a single offline node in Geneva. Codenamed, Mirror. That night, Daniel noticed a car following him. Same man. Same jacket. 3 nights in a row. Then he received another note. Folded inside a sugar bowl at a cafe. "Meet me at the greenhouse. Midnight. Come alone." He went. Vines swallowed broken glass panels. Shadows danced between ferns. That's where she stood. White coat. Clipboard. Cold eyes. Dr. Evelyn Levi. A scientist once contracted through Echelon Point. She handed him a file. Inside his life, monitored, cataloged, and psychologically profiled years before Adrian betrayed him. They had tested social collapse, professional sabotage, romantic detachment, all of it. And Daniel had been patient Delta. "Why me?" he asked. "You were smart, stubborn, unpredictable," she answered. "The perfect anomaly. And now, you're awake, but they're not done." Daniel left the greenhouse changed. Not just betrayed, not just targeted, chosen. And now, they were cleaning up. That night his phone buzzed again. A video, shaky, filmed from across the street. It showed him, walking. Today. Someone had been following him, in real time. Then static. A whisper. "You exposed the surface. Now we're coming for what's underneath." In the reflection of a car window, Daniel saw it, the masked figure. The same one from the wedding footage. Standing. Watching. Daniel ran the footage through Myra's servers. She froze the frame. Enhanced the mask. Then the jacket. On the shoulder, the triangle symbol again. "This is bigger than Adrian," she whispered. "This is a syndicate." Daniel turned to ask another question, but Mira had already logged out. And for the first time, he didn't know whose side she was really on. Weeks passed. Daniel lay low. New startup launched. Quiet. Ethical. Transparent. But the paranoia never left. He stopped answering unknown numbers. Checked his rearview mirror twice. Sometimes 3 times. And then, someone else began to watch. Somewhere far away in a dark room lined with monitors, a man stood. Silver hair. Black turtleneck. Calm eyes. On the screens, Daniel. Every move. Every call. Every meeting. "Subject Delta is progressing faster than anticipated," said a voice behind the camera. "Shall we intervene?" The man smiled. "No. Let him run. He'll lead us to something even bigger." He turned to one screen. It showed Mira. The hacker. The scar. The hoodie. The defiance. But as he zoomed in, he whispered, "She's not who she says she is." The reflection of the monitor caught his face. The mask. The man from the parking lot. The wedding. The footage. The man behind the mirror. To be continued in part 2. The Hacker's Secret. Life lesson from the story. 1. Never underestimate someone just because they've fallen. Rock bottom is not the end. Sometimes, it's the start of a rise no one saw coming. Daniel lost everything, but the moment they counted him out, they handed him his power. 2. Sometimes the people closest to you are the first to betray you. Adrian wasn't just a friend. He was family. But loyalty means nothing to those who worship power. And betrayal from within cuts the deepest. 3. Truth doesn't stay buried forever, it waits for the right moment to rise. Even when it seems like lies have won, the truth has patience. And when it finally surfaces, it hits with the force of justice. 4. Power built on manipulation always collapses. Adrian rose fast by stepping on Daniel's back. But what's built on deception eventually turns to dust. 5. The wrong turn might be the right one in disguise. Daniel didn't mean to find the wedding. But life has a strange way of leading us exactly where we're meant to confront our ghosts. 6. When you're being watched, what you choose to do next defines who you really are. Daniel was monitored, studied, profiled, but even under their lens he chose courage. They expected a breakdown. He gave them a revolution. 7. Broken people know where the cracks are. Daniel's downfall made him dangerous, not weak. Pain sharpened him. And the ones who've been shattered often know exactly where to strike back. 8. Silence doesn't mean weakness. It means someone's preparing. Daniel didn't scream, didn't beg. He gathered receipts. And when he spoke, it wasn't noise. It was an earthquake. 9. Not every enemy wears a name tag. Adrian was the face of the betrayal, but the real enemy was behind the mirror, pulling strings in the shadows. And sometimes, the true threat isn't loud. It's hidden. 10. You can't control what's done to you, but you can control what you do next. They planned his failure, programmed his collapse, but they couldn't predict his resilience. And in the end, the one they wrote off rewrote the story. Are you thrilled with our storyline? Subscribe to Crime Files Uncovered for more exciting stories.